Yeah. Hello, everyone. Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Jegatheeswaran Manoharan, who people lovingly call Jega. And I have a small intro from my side, and I would like to read that out so that I don't miss anything here. Uh, Jegatheeswaran Manoharan is a team leadership specialist, international speaker, and a game and simulation developer from Malaysia. So, what he has done? He has developed several learning games, and simulation for adult learning, and is an active advocate of game-based learning. So, this is a small part of what we also do here at Leela Curriculum. And he's a former executive board member of North American Simulation and Gaming Association. That's called NASAGA, NASAGA, and a similar counterpart in Malaysia as well, which is the Malaysian Simulation and Gaming Association, which is called MASAGA. So we would like to hear more on these as the interview progresses, and with all this small introduction, which is going to definitely expand further. I would like to welcome Mr. Jega. Mr. Jega, please welcome on this brief career guidance interview series hosted by Leela Curriculum.
All right. Thank you very much, Sharad, for this session, and thank you, Raiva, for this invitation as well. I just want to clarify, it's a Malaysian simulation and gaming community. The reason is because we have not formed the association yet. It's still as a community. But yes, it's a counterpart of NASAGA.
Wow. Wow. So, I mean, I am very curious, to start off. Where do I start? So my mind goes directly to a place that where did you start? Your let's say initial education. The name sounds very familiar to Indian community. So do you have Indian roots, and how does it start? How does your journey start? I would like to know a brief of that.
All right. So you are right. I am of Indian origin. Ethnically, I am still known as Indian in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, we
Okay.
have several ethnic communities. So Indian community, although it's about 8%, but it's still a very strong community over here. And we have guarded the language. Predominantly is Tamil language. And then we also have all other languages from India, whether it's Malayalam or Telugu, or some of them who speak Hindi and all. But the thing is, Tamil has been the predominant language in Malaysia among Indians here. So I am a Tamilian, so my roots probably go somewhere in Tamil Nadu. And I don't know why I have to say probably, because I'm trying to find my root as well, because I am the rare Malaysian Indian community. There's only a handful of Malaysian Indian community where we are the fifth generation in this country. So a lot of them here, their grandfathers probably came from India, or great grandfather came from India. In my case, my great great grandmother was born here. So I have very long history of lineage here. Although my paternal side, my grandfather came here when he was young, when he was very small. But my maternal lineage is very has been here for a long time. So we have struggled of trying to figure out where our roots are. We have no connection with. I'm sure somewhere, we have some relatives. For all you know, you are one of my relatives as well.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You're so right. You're so right. I think one thing which connects us, at least in this interview, and since I've known you since the last few days while researching, is the game. So where does this all start? I mean, let's not jump there. I want to little bit know about the schooling which you have done. Is it very formal education? Like in India, we are my generation at least. I'm talking about 90s. We were very focused on becoming engineers or becoming doctors, or let's say lawyers. No one would have thought games. Game means, oh, you don't want to study. It's something which you do in your leisure time, not the main profession as such. So I want to know that your initial bit, and then if that was the case, and the transition.
All right, it's an interesting thing. Yes, as much as I said, I'm the fifth generation here. We are very strong Asian culture here. So, as an Asian culture, the only choice of career you have is a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or an accountant.
Wow.
So,
Oh
So
my God, so it's the same.
yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, you know. And
Oh.
the only reason they said that because IT was very new. They did not know IT back then, you know. So yes, I came from a very middle class family. My dad was working for my late dad used to work for the Malaysian Telecom, which was a government agency back then.
Mhm.
And then my mom was also a working mom. So I have a sister, younger sister, just the two of us, you know, my sister and myself, a very small family, growing up middle class, went to government school and went through the entire schooling system. So we have the primary school and the secondary school system. So we inherited our schooling system from the British as well. So we have primary until six and then form one until form six. So I went through the entire school system in Malaysia and went to the university. And the university was also a Malaysian university down south. It's called University Technology Malaysia, so UTM. And I studied mechanical engineering and majored in the area of marine technology. So
Oh.
my actual field is design and building of ships, sea
Oh.
ships. Yeah. So, and
Oh.
I enjoyed it. I nothing about it. I loved my engineering thing because I loved engineering. I loved mathematics. I loved calculation. So after that, what happened was I went for my industrial training. And when I went for my industrial training, that's when it dawned on me about what real engineers do. And I didn't kind of like it because I went into engineering with the mindset of research, development, finding new stuff, discovery, experiment, and it's a bit of like what you are a scientist. You just told me before this interview you're a scientist, and
Right.
I have a lot of respect for that because scientist is all about discovery. You know, what's the next adventure thing? So I guess my route of game design started way back then. Even during school days and all that, I used to like try different stuff. You know, when a toy comes in a certain way, I will spoil those toys because I want to know what is inside. So I'll open it and I get scolding from my dad for that because he buys a remote control car. But yeah, a remote control car, you press the button, it moves. But how? I need to know. So I
Right.
open it up. The only problem is I don't know how to put it back. So the end of the end of the toy and things. So it was very much a hunger for discovery. And then after that, I went into the working world, and in the working world, I was my attention drew towards business more than engineering. I got drawn towards the world of business because of some exposure towards entrepreneurship and all. And I wanted to become a trainer. So somewhere in me, one part was probably I don't know if the people are watching this, you're from a Buddhist or a Hindu background, you will understand reincarnation and
Yeah.
vasanas. Okay, concept of vasana, you know. So probably my vasana was somewhere between some gaming related stuff or a school teacher, maybe a PE master.
Mm. That's so interesting. So interesting. I am so happy you're using words. I mean words like vasanas. This is one. Even Raiva will resonate to these kind of words because we come from that background. And plus, I am also personally very happy because you are from mechanical background and I am also a mechanical engineer. If it given to me, if this interview was not about career guidance, I would have, you know, gone with you in a journey of mechanical engineering and marine engineering for sure.
Yeah,
It would have been
definitely.
an interesting topic. Sometimes offline we would talk about that for sure.
Right.
Yeah, so interesting it is. So I think it was. See, some people we have had a lot of interviews earlier also, and few people told it's the life circumstances. For few of them, it's the life circumstances which force them to go in a certain direction in their career. Here you are where you are assigning or attributing it to the vasanas is one thing. Plus, you had an inkling to be a trainer,
That's right.
but training through and teaching and doing mentorship through games is what is was there a turning point in your life which made you jump, or it was a slow transition as you are describing?
You're right. A good question there because training is one part. Not many trainers actually use game-based learning. You know, there are so many other avenues of training. So I had this intention of becoming like a speaker, motivation speaker, trainer, and also that the transition towards training started then. But then I got exposed to the concept of using business simulation. And I saw some products coming from Europe, sorry, from North America, uh, where they use business simulation to learn. And I was a salesperson of training of other trainers first. So that's how I got into training world. I was first a salesman because yes, right off college, you have 2 years of working experience, and what are you going to tell the world? You know that how you should do your work better. You know nobody's going to believe. So I had to make
Yeah.
my way in. So I joined as a salesperson first of training products. Now, one of the training product was a business simulation, and when I first saw that, that sort of like wow, that blew my mind. It's like, this is interesting. And from that point, I sort of like got hooked onto it. And then I joined another company, a training company. And I would say that I developed a few products for them. And it's like, it became like a default thing. It's like, if you want to learn something, let me teach it to you through games. And
Wow.
it just went in that direction because I found that lecture doesn't work. You can give them case study sometimes does work, but at times is that people give intelligent answer. They give you answer that they know is the right answer to give, but they you will never get an answer that comes somewhere deep in their subconscious or somewhere deep in their what we call as default behavior. Default behavior will never come out in those kind of controlled conversation. But in a game, no matter how hard you try to hide your default behavior, somewhere it is going to show up. Okay. And the best part of it is that
Yeah.
it shows up to the player themselves. So rather than showing up to others, I mean, yes, we can see how people behave, but it shows up, it becomes like a witness to the player themselves. And when I saw the value of that, I said, okay, this is how it is going to be. And in 2015, my partner Zyrol and I went for the North American Simulation and Gaming Association conference, NASAGA conference in Seattle. We were the only Malaysians over there. There was a couple from India as well there. And when they asked us, where are you from? We said Malaysia. And they are like, they're trying to be polite. Where is Malaysia? I say, if you dig a hole down here through the core, you might reach Malaysia, about 300 kilometers away. All right. So, but when I saw Nasaga, I saw an entire community of people who are all passionate about games and all passionate about using games for learning. So this is the thing. Sometimes there are a group of people who are pure gamers. They just want to play the next game.
Hmm.
Learning, not learning, that's not their issue. They don't care. In fact, you go tell them about what can you learn from this, they look at you like, what's your problem? Can you just play the game? So they have a different mindset over there. But when I saw in Nasaga, I saw lecturers, I saw school educators, I saw government department people from the government department. So that sort of opened my eyes. Oh, right, you can use games in whatever you're doing. Yeah, this is in our research we use simulations and all, and we met a lot of people who are willingly sharing this thing. So that sort of like became the mega turning point. And when we came back, we started sharing with all of our friends and all. And from there, the brand actually got created. And today, if anyone in Malaysia in the training industry who know me, they won't know what topic I do, but they know, oh, you're the game guy, right? You're the one who does all these games and simulation. Right? I say, yes, correct. That's the one. So that has been a journey in a nutshell.
Wow. So yeah, this I got to learn two things in your journey. One was a little hook which was created when you were introduced those European training techniques. And then the last shot was kind of the NASAGA conference which you attended, where you got exposure. Oh my God, This is what the gaming can be used for, and it sort of reconfirmed your conviction, isn't it? Is it
Yes.
right to say that? So,
Yeah. And one of the things that when Zairo and I started the company, before we even went for NASAGA, we wanted to hack the market because one of the challenge we have with all these games and simulation from whether it's Europe or North America is that the huge licensing fee. And when you put such a huge licensing fee, what happens is that such great product can only reach the senior management people. So we looked at it, we said that, okay, this is not rocket science. I mean, we don't have to copy that, but we can create something else, but we understand the concept. And we said, let's democratize this tool. And, one thing we have developed so many simulations throughout the years. We have played it with non-executive. These are clerical level. In Malaysia, we'll call them as clerical level. They are the clerks and maybe at the entry level people. And usually they are associated with these things are too complicated. They won't understand and all that. No, no, not really, not true at all. When you put them through the experience, they will understand what they understand at their level, and they will get their lesson based on their meaning, whatever meaning that they create at that point. On the other hand, we also have people saying that, oh, you cannot play this game at senior management people, the one with the arms crossed, legs crossed, eyes crossed people. You can't play it with them because they are very serious people. They don't like this. Once again, wrong. You know what's wrong with them? I heard a senior management person telling me this once. He said, you know what? I loved what you did because all of the programs that I've attended to are some leadership models, some case studies, some boring discussion. But when we played this game, we had very meaningful conversation. Although it was playful, you see, this is the thing. It's not the play, it's what's happened after the play, the meaning that is generated after the play. And they said after the play they were having discussion. Practically I didn't have to do anything. I was just facilitating. Why do you say that? Why do you do this? And I just kept on asking questions, and they were sharing. They were bringing their organization strategy. They were talking about all the challenges they were facing, and they were coming up with alternatives based on, see that it happened in the game, could we work something like this out in our own company? So you see that, so
uh,
games are not for a particular age. I think uh, if 3 minutes before your end of life, you can still roll a dice or you can move a piece, move a piece.
that's so beautiful. And I myself was smiling while you were going through this, and I saw Raiva smiling too. Raiva, I think there is something is in your mind which you would like to add here. Would you like to please?
No, I met Jega during Masaga conference when he invited me, and I've seen him play. I've not only seen him play, I've seen him engage with others and engage in other people's games, and it's just beautiful to see this side of him. Like I never really got to talk to him about how he feels about game story, what was his journey, and just to listen to that, I'm happy to be here. But I have a question, Jega, for you. Like you said, right, games usually also reveal something to the player itself.
Could
That's
you
how,
repeat that, Raiva, again?
but playing game sometimes reveals something to the player itself.
I couldn't catch that. uh,
It's difficult to catch that question. Raiva, you could probably put it into chat and I can repeat
yes.
the question.
Sure.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
What is the improvement strategy?
Yeah, I know, but I think there's some interesting question there. You can just type it out in the chat box while I actually ask some other question, and then the next question could be yours. So, I wanted to ask you, Jaga, I mean, the games which you actually develop for the corporate world or for the executive levels, are they similar in nature to the games which a kid would play? Let's say a simple board game, like any board game. Let's say for financial literacy, we have a game called
Mm.
Monopoly. So is that similar in nature to that, or is it a very serious play where there is no shouting across and there are no yelling across coming? I mean, how is it? What is it?
Okay, good question there. In terms of the commercially available game, using directly in for classroom for adult training, you can adapt. That's what we encourage our friends and all our community here. If you can't design a game, it's okay. Take existing game and adapt it there. Now, when you adapt, you will not get it perfectly there. So you may have to make some modification to the rules of the game. Like, for example, a Monopoly, while it's a nice game to start with, although if you go to the community of my community of NASAGA folks and all that, we will all have this thing about Monopoly is the lousiest game thing. But you know what? Whatever you say about Monopoly, it is probably the most played game around the world after Snake and Ladder, right? Snake and
Right.
Ladder always takes the first place there. So one thing we can do, you're right there, it's a global game. And every community says there's theirs. The Indian says it's theirs. The African says it's theirs. Every continent says it's theirs, right? So it's probably the oldest game, I believe. So you can take an existing game and use it and make modification and use it as a form of like, okay, what lesson can I draw from this particular game, from the existing game, right? So let me take a game like in Malaysia we call it Chongkak. Internationally they call it Makala, right? Thing. In Tamil it's called Palanguli.
Yes.
Okay,
I know that game. Yes.
that game, right? Where you take the thing and all. And that's actually a very good strategy game about choice and positions. So if you could use that and you can draw a lesson from that, you can use that in your classroom. So the only difference, right, what we do is that sometimes the requirement in the classroom is a little complex. They have certain special requirement whereby any of the existing game can't fit inside. It is only in those situations we end up designing our own games. So this is
Okay.
where the design part came in, because certain requirement that they have, we found that existing game does not cater for it. That's where design comes in. But like what I said earlier, if for anyone who wants to start using games in their classroom or what, take existing game first. That's the simplest way. Why it's nicely designed. The packaging looks good. In fact, while I'm talking to you, I have a whole lot of games here which I've bought from India, and some of it was given to me by Mirama. Okay, so Mira actually gave a whole lot of games, and then after that, I went and bought some games as well. So all of these games are from India. I have a whole lot of stuff here, all of it from that. Right? The whole lot of stuff here. And when I came
Wow.
from Bangalore, I went for a conference, and then I in Mumbai, and then I dropped by Bangalore and met everyone at Leela Gurukulam and all. And when we brought the games back, we were playing it on like every Friday. Okay, let's test this out. Let's test this out. Let's test it out and all that. So I would say that if you have something like that, you find a simple game that is already readily available, take the game, learn the rules, change the rules if you need to, add a few stuff to it, that you think will be interesting, and then test it out. And that's the thing about game. Would it work?
Yes.
I don't know. Test it out and we'll find out. And then that's the
Wow.
discovery. The curiosity and discovery is the foundation of using games for learning.
Actually, this was my next question, which I wanted to ask, but you already answered.
Oh,
I
okay.
wanted you to, run us through the process. Let's say if you want to design a game to teach, let's say executives about entrepreneurship, just a basic thing. What is the run-through process? You already told everything about your run-through process. If anything is available in the market, pick that up, tweak it, and just play it.
Exactly.
While that answers my question, I have the question from Raiva here in the chat box. What she's asking is, which is a game you played recently which revealed something new about yourself to you?
Oh, okay. This was a game which I played about, I think it was about like last year or early this year. I think it was early this year. It was a mega game. A mega game is a game where the number of players, the board is as big as a table. Okay, a few tables. They, like with a school desk, they put a few desks together, and then the board is quite big, like like 3 meters by 3 meters kind of board. Your pieces are there. You decide your movement, but before you make any decision, you have to go to your team and discuss it. So that is one format of game. They call it mega game. So your team might be about might be about 4 or 5 of us over there. We'll make a decision. What are we going to do next? We got to go to other teams and negotiate and then come up with something. Now, that game, I sort of lost it. I lost it because of the way somebody played in that game. And when someone played in the game, because it was a situation where you're trying to save the world from some catastrophe or what, and we need to do something before if you don't bring that level to a certain level, I think was it oxygen or temperature level, if you don't bring it there, a major catastrophe might happen. So what we need to do is we got to work with others, but the thing is others are also chasing after points for them. So they were looking for their points. And what we thought was, okay, guys, you can win this game, but what good is this winning when you don't have a world? So we need to first save the world. So the only way we're going to save the world is this one particular team that is they're a bit in a dire situation. So we said that, okay, I tell you what, we will give you this. All right, we will give you this. That will save you from that. And in turn, can you actually do this particular move in the game so that we could all survive? And these guys did not do that. They took our resources and they decided to just win the game. I said, what's the point of you winning? You decide to win, and what is going to happen? You're not going to have a world there. And when I really got a bit, this is where I say I lost it a little bit, because this was a bunch of school kids. And I was not, there's nothing wrong about school kids playing that way. They are kids. They'll play that way. You know what really got into my nerves at that point? Their school teacher was there as well. And the school teacher said, no, 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 don't think. Winning is everything. You must first win. And I looked at the school teacher. I said, this is why my wife and I decided to homeschool our children, so that they don't get this kind of rubbish into their head, this kind of thought process. So that point, I was a bit different. And my teammates said, hey, Jega, relax. Okay. Then I said, look at him, look at the teacher. I'm a bit upset with the teacher. I'm not upset with the player. The player was a kid. But the teacher, who is supposed to be guiding to see the bigger picture of things, to look at the entire game and all that, and the teacher couldn't see it. And I said, if people like you are teachers, now I understand where nation's problems all come from, all the fraud and all the corruption and all that. You all started in school. So Raiva, I thought that was a bit a long answer there, but that was a game, and that revealed something to me. And later I reflected, why did I react to that? And then I thought to myself, you know what? So what? Somebody else wins. Sometimes you just have to give up that part. Although you were poised to win, but if somebody else, look at what is in our culture, we call it the higher dharma. So whenever you're looking at something, always look at what is the higher dharma, and you go towards the higher dharma and fulfill that first. And that was a lesson that I got, that whatever you do, look at what is the higher dharma in this entire piece of multiple priorities, and fulfill that first. Yeah, that was an insight that I got revealed to myself.
So precious. So it's so precious an answer, actually. This is what Raiva also says. Thank you for sharing this. This was very precious because what I understood from you, I mean, you are a very passionate gamer. That is very clear from a very little interaction which I have had with you. You relate to the game and back to your life, back to the game. An iterative process which is alive within you is beautiful, beautiful to experience that. And I'm so happy that you don't treat game as separate from your life. This is what I realized while also interacting with you. You actually took a situation where you reflected upon your own personality, and this is what can be done to the world as well. I mean, you don't need to go to those big monasteries or temples, to learn spirituality. A simple board game can teach you it, isn't
Correct.
it? And another turning point I saw where you decided that my kids are not going to school anymore. I am going to homeschool them. And with a father like you, I'm sure they're at very good hands. So thank you, Raiva. Thank you for bringing that question out.
So that
So,
that was a good thing. I mean, the decision of homeschooling was something that my wife and I toyed from the beginning, and so when I heard about Leela Gurukulam, and I was like, "Wow! If only I knew this much earlier, our homeschooling journey would have been so much more different."
yeah, but I think you're not doing anything much different either with what little interaction in this interview I have had with you. So I think you're on the probably a path could be a little different, but you're heading the same way. Yeah, Raiva.
Now,
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
yes.
audible.
okay, so I had another question if I can ask. For those who are young and are yet to start their career and are interested in becoming trainers, be it through games or through any other method, what would you like them to keep in mind while they prepare themselves to become a trainer? Because the academics training to become a trainer, all that is taken care of. But as somebody who's in that field, doing it every day, what do you feel every trainer should know and should do for themselves?
All right, great. The first thing is it's similar to what a school teacher should be doing. Walk your talk first. You can't be one thing in your classroom and another thing outside. A lot of people can do that. That's an ability they developed to be two different people. But I think one thing is walk your talk. Um, and another thing is be genuinely curious about something. When you look at it, you should always look at how can this be different? How can this be better? And that genuine curiosity is very much needed in this field because the world is constantly changing. Some approaches, you can't take every approach from the management book as the way to do it. Today, I question a lot about the management school approach because a lot of this came from the Western world. Not putting them down. I respect one thing about them is they do a lot of research. They have put some quite a bit of stuff together in a very organized format. One thing we learned from the Western way of doing things is that they all believe in structure and format and the way to present. So I came from that place as well. So I respect that. But sometimes we need to look at some of the content and look back into application in your community. Does it really work? Do you have to make some tweaking? So if you tweak, then you have to test it. Test it by looking at what are the evidence that we have that shows this thing actually works. So that curiosity is what we really need. But a part of that is just your presentation skill. You got to go for a train the trainer program because the train the trainer program, it's not about just coming into the class and giving stuff. In the world of training today, it's not about how much knowledge I have and how much I'm going to transfer to you. I am the guru, I'm here to pass you the thing, and through some level of osmosis, you're going to be wise. But it doesn't work that way. All right. Today's world of learning is very facilitative. Facilitative means yes, you have a content, but then you need to engage in useful conversation and not challenge the person. I mean, you got to challenge and not challenge at the same time. So you want to challenge a person a little bit, but not to the point where you say, hey, this is the correct way. Your method is wrong. And how do you argue? I have some clients in this country. whereby they have run their organization, breaking every management rules out there, and they grew to become a multi-million-dollar company. So as a person of curiosity, you must ask, why? What is that is happening over there? And if you look at Indian organizations, companies in India, in an Indian setup, it is still very strongly paternalistic leadership. The maternal part has come in quite considerably, but it's still very top-down hierarchy way of doing it, which breaks all the rules of management. But some of the biggest companies around the world are located in India. How did they grow up to become such huge organizations and all? So some things are changing with time everywhere. But I think what is important here is that we got to constantly learn, constantly be curious about why some things are happening. And that way, you will be able to serve your clients better and in a more authentic, genuine way.
Thank you for bringing that up, Raiva. It was a actually interesting question because if someone is really looking in to make their career in this direction, this is an important aspect for consideration. I would go further in this and ask Jega one thing which came into my mind while Raiva was getting answered is let's say you have a particular game and you use it to train some corporate. One thing is, because you are a passionate gamer yourself, so you know the effects of it and you know the outcomes. Have you seen any company posting that, oh my God, this game helped, we were able to strategize better, and this is the output. This quarter the revenues were really up. Something of that sort happened.
All right. Usually, whenever it comes to revenue, output, and all that, there are other intervention, not just a game. A game doesn't change much. A game is actually a precursor to the learning process. So when it comes to organization for change or training and all, we look at the entire learning as a spectrum. The game is somewhere here. Along with the game comes facilitation, comes content, comes discussion, presentation, and after that comes implementation. So when you look at the entire implementation scope, then you see the entire, the whole spectrum of it is the contributing factor, not just the game alone. But the game has triggered people's way of thinking. I have people who have met me after many years and said that I still remember that particular game on how we actually negotiated. So the very fact they remember the game and they remember what actions they took in the game, that itself is a major shift for some people. We have a game called Eastern Trading Company. It's about a game where people are negotiating with each country. There are 6 countries over there on how to arrive to a win-win situation. And it's tough because how do you go and convince another person? And similar to the experience that I had with that game that I played, you may help somebody and the person may not help back. So it is this kind of moment that gets people to start triggering. They start forming new ideologies at that point. So our work as trainers is that while that ideology is being formed, we are just finding a way to facilitate that formation of the ideology into a way that is useful to them in the long term. So I'm not saying the right or wrong ideology. We are not here to tell you, yes, you have to work win-win, or no, you got to go on a win-lose method. I can't tell what you need to do, but I can just tell you that for every action, there is a consequence. You can choose your action, but you can't choose your consequence. And you can see that in a game. You can choose your action, you can't choose your consequence. And then who do you become in the process of the entire game? So one thing I liked about game is that it opens up avenues of deeper conversation that you can't actually get out of you can. Let's say if we were having a 2 hour fireside chat. Slowly people open up and then they tell about their challenges, storytelling method. It does work. But in a game, it comes out almost immediately,
Instantaneous.
instantaneously. And you can see that, some guys, they will cheat in a game. And if they cheat in a game, so we don't tell that, oh, why you cheated? This is wrong. You should not have cheated. So my way of facilitating is always what we call as indirect negotiation. Indirect negotiation is that, yeah, we notice some people cheated and all that in the game. You know what they say? The way you play a game is the way you play a game of life. So if somebody cheated in this game, chances are somewhere in life, the similar behavior is always happening. And I just leave it there. I don't have to go to an individual. And I practice this silence. In this silence, there are thousands of conversations happening in the head of the person who just did something bad. So that is the process of learning. The process of learning. That's why I say facilitation is very important. Alongside the game is the process of facilitation. Silence is a powerful tool of facilitation as well. So when we do that kind of things, people's internalization happens. And when they internalize, then we have a conversation. So that's where, and then you share some models or, your curriculum and all that. People are a bit more receptive to hear it because now they have a need to wanting to know what it is all about.
This actually, Raiva, I know you are one of the co-hosts, but I will put you in a spot here along with Jega. What is the consequence if you go down the line and introduce these board games, which sort of Raiva has the answer, but I would also like to know a different perspective from Jega, you as well, to the kids who are at the school level. There itself the board game is introduced and you don't teach them anything. They just learn by themselves, right? So what happens? In the adults, you see those, someone cheating. And of course, that spills over to the game of life as well. And the way they interact in the company, the way they are in the company with colleagues and everything. Everything shows what, it's a larger model of what they have miniaturized in that game. So what is the consequence? Do you see the benefits of bringing the board games into the school or the younger ages?
Yes, definitely. Because I find the value of it because one thing is it reveals to us about the kids' inner drive, their natural tendencies, what they are born with. So why is that a game is being played? One kid plays aggressively, another kid just gives in. And then sometimes you notice some kids will cheat, will lie. Who taught them cheating and lying? How did they come up with that? So one thing is, it reveals to us something about the child that we could work on later. I mean, that's the way I see it, rather than telling them that this is right and wrong. Now, once again, my approach could be a bit different. I believe Raiva has a lot more experience, although she's much younger to me, but I respect her for the level of experience because she has worked with kids herself and with her mom as well, and all the mentors from Lila Gurukulam who has worked with kids, they hold a better mileage than me, and I respect their approach. But so for me, I would say I will take it from a point of revealing a little bit about who do we have in our family or who do we have in the classroom. But maybe Raiva, you may want to share, in that sense, what is your thoughts on that?
Very close to what you said, Jega. One thing, now that it's come about, I wanted to share. I have interacted with so many people who are looking at play facilitation for corporates here in India, trainers from India, but Jega was the only person, like when I was connected to him and we didn't know each other, we got connected via third person. And I knew he's okay. I got his introduction that he's also into this corporate space and using games. He was the only one who spoke to me about we want to introduce games at the level of education. And I was surprised because here in India, nobody's getting that thought. From everybody whom I've spoken to, they are like, games should be introduced in corporates because it's the most natural way of learning. But the thought just doesn't trickle down that, probably education itself can be through games. But with my first interaction with Jega, it went on 45 minutes. And in that, I could, though he was the one interviewing me, I could say that he is also very much interested in getting games down to that level of education itself. And our approach is almost the same, Jaga. It is first thing, like you were saying, knowledge is within the person. It's not me going and giving. So we just facilitate the process to knowledge to come from within. So when we do it with kids, the practice happens earlier. When children are introduced to game-based learning or play-based learning from early ages, actually it's funny that we say introduce play-based learning. That's how they learn. They naturally learn through play. For them, everything is a play. But when we harness that energy of play learning in them, facilitation, it becomes a self-automated process later on for them. The more they practice that when they play a game or when they are in life playing the game of life, they know they can learn something out of it. So that lifelong learning aspects gets inculcated. And like Jaga said, a lot of things a game reveals. So for a child who's playing from young age, the natural tendency is like when a child starts lying, when a child starts thinking from the other person's perspective. Children don't have a third person view for a very long time. They develop that later on. So when that thought process has started to develop within them, because when we know the thought process has developed, now we can give them certain inputs on what a personality is, what characteristics are. So with a game that comes out naturally, we don't have to have a separate milestone assessment. The game is the milestone assessment. The way we see them play, we get to know where they are placed, and then we can start giving inputs accordingly. So yeah,
Right.
that is in a gist.
I like that because one thing I want to tell about Raiva is that when I had a conversation with her, I mean, we invited Raiva last year to speak at our Malaysian Simulation and Gaming Conference. She was the youngest speaker of all speakers over there. I had a bit of doubt, like she's young, how is she? Is she okay? And all because at the end of the day, it's a conference. See, a lot of corporate people are coming and all. But after talking to her, I mean, one thing I respect you, Raiva, you could hold a conversation for about 45, 50 minutes with me. And whatever things that I threw to her, I said, no, you can't say this. We are going to do it this way. And she was very fluid and all. And very different way of thinking. And you are a living example of what games have done to an individual. So a lot of times what happens in the school system is that they box them according to what they think you are capable of. And that's why we also chose homeschooling, because you are no longer boxed into that. So what happens is that, sometimes you speak to some kids, they speak like the cartoons that they watch, because that's where the exposure is. So kids can learn almost anything depending on the exposure. If you expose them to cartoons that says a certain kind of words or certain slang and all that, you will find them speaking in that way as well. So if you expose them to a different context, it's a totally a different world, and they get a totally different experience out of this. And I'm very much into that, and I feel like kids, they should not be learning calculation, maths, or anything until they are about 8 or 9. It's okay. You can do that much later. I mean, you can learn to count, but I really don't see, because what's happening today is that there's been this rush to tell that my son is only 5 years old, and you know what? How much is 27 plus 5? And that doesn't look, so what? Now, I even question this. What if you can get your kid to learn times 12 at the age of 6? are they going to build the next ISRO rocket at the age of 15? No, right? You're still going to go through the entire thing and no. So what's the rush of that? So in the process of rushing content, competencies, and all that, we lose the real thing about growth, the real thing about development of an individual. You know what? If the kid is a genius, they would pick maths up like that even without you. Srinivas Ramanujam is one example of that. Nobody had to teach him how to do that. He just picked it up. And they go and pick the books up by themselves. And if your child is a prodigy or it's a genius and all that, it will show up. The child will go hunt for it, like a shark, in the ocean. They will go and look for what content they want. They will develop themselves. So let kids be kids first. I mean, that's my take about children. Let kids be kids. Let them play. Let them discover the world.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Jeka. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Raiva. You too. You have anything to add, Raiva? Or
Actually, I
yeah,
have a question. I know AI has creeped into the training
yeah.
world as well. And I saw a post, Jega had put a LinkedIn post on AI recently. But I would like to ask you, see, as an educator who's also working with play, we are working with times and integrating AI into whatever we do. But I'm asking this question more for the relevance of today and children who are preparing to become trainers of the future. Where do you place AI in your field?
Okay, AI is still very much at the infancy when it comes to learning. The reason why I say is there are a lot of fancy tools out there. Today, you can learn language through AI. There are some AI avatars that I can say something in a way, and then it speaks back to me, and I can learn. So in that space, I think there's a whole lot of development that is going to happen in the world of AI there. So the trajectory is upwards. It's at the infancy. The next 5 or 10 years is going to be mind blowing. I hope we still are humans in that process. But at the same time, there are certain avenues where what will be the human role in that advanced world of AI? So the future of training would be to prepare the human with those human roles in that world of AI. So in that world of AI, whether is it skill, whether is it today I even don't know whether data scientists have got, it's just what like 6-7 years ago everything was data science, data science, data science. But today AI might end up doing that too, element of data science. But the thing is, with AI doing all this, there is one notch higher order of thinking that human being will have to operate on. So just like last time, you see, when we were doing brute force, we got no time to think about other stuffs because we were doing the brute work. But when somebody figured that out, then we had time to think about the next order of stuff. And that the entire development to where it is today, AI, was the process of that next thought, next thought, next thought. So today I'm not so worried about AI because I believe that the human species will figure out what's the next step in that process. And the next step is, at the end of the day, see, AI can take over everything. Human being is still spending the money, right? So economy still depends on human beings. So therefore, there is still avenue for human existence. But I think it's time for us to also challenge the traditional way of learning and adopt a lot more of this AI method as not as a replacement, but as a powered engine. It's like you have an additional power, a turbo charger to your engine, so that we can go further with this. So, and we are just going through another phase of just like how people responded to technology in the past. I remember, I don't know, Sharat, I don't know when we were in school, did they have this TV, this debate topic? Is TV good or bad? And then later,
Yes.
Yeah, right. You had that also, right? So it's in India too. And then is internet good or bad? Now the new topic
Yes.
will be, is AI good or bad? But it is going to be there. You can't fight it.
Excellent, excellent. So this was about the, you are telling us the historic trend. That also brings me to the keyword trend is very important for me here right now. So when we talk about what you do with the world, with the corporates, with the people around. So do you think more and more people joining the bandwagon where, let's say, do you have your competitors in Malaysia or anywhere across the world, or do you see a lot of people joining this bandwagon of, training through game or making learning facilitation through game? Do you see that?
Yes, it's always getting bigger and bigger. People are starting to see the value of it. Um, One of my good friend who is a renowned business coach in Malaysia, Captain Shan Murthy, um, he actually came and once told, games and simulation almost died off. There was a time when it was thing, and then it sort of like tapered off. And he said, "It's okay." I'm just quoting him. He said that you guys, you and Zyrul, and Accordia team, are the ones who actually revived it in the industry in Malaysia. I can't back that up. Okay, I think so if it's true, okay, thank you very much. But it's such a big uh, thing for me to claim myself. But what I've seen in the last a good 5, 6 years, even before the pandemic, is that the adoption of activities in classroom is becoming much important. And why I say this is because whenever we go and present a particular program, let's say a leadership program, the buyer, which is the HR personnel, is not asking about what are you covering in the program. They are no longer asking about content. They are no longer interested about models and all. I mean, they want the models to be there because as part of the curriculum, but they're asking, what are you going to do in the classroom? The question here is, what are you going to do in the classroom? Do you do any games, activities? What game is that? Can you explain what do you do? And how does this help? The conversation has changed that way on the buyer's side. That's where I saw it as major. When they asked us to, can you present what activities you're going to do? And today, because we have been always focusing on that, the inquiries that we get is like, okay, we are contacting you because we know that you do games. We know you do simulation. Do you have a simulation for this is my current situation in the company? Do you have a simulation that can address this? So the conversation has changed in that way. So because of that, many trainers are actually jumping into the bandwagon. Great. In fact, we run a course in Malaysia, um, learning game design certification. So certification program, we train other trainers, our what you will say as competitors. We train other trainers on how to take it step by step into designing your own games, designing simulations and all. So people have asked, hey, this is your secret. You all have been doing it. Why do you teach to others? Ah, I come from a culture where we see knowledge very differently. That's the simplest answer. And from a commercial standpoint, by teaching it, others will start developing. When others start developing, it's a challenge in the industry. You will have to push your game higher. That's the only way I see it. By more people doing it, some people can say, oh, then it's a lot of competition. No, it's good because now what? Now everybody's looking for what is the next step? What is the next thing? What is the next experience in games? Can we incorporate AI? Can we incorporate this? So it always keeps the environment to be very vibrant, very exciting, very what do you call it? It's a growing economy, and we always see it that way. And I think you understand what I mean. We come from a culture where we see knowledge very different.
Yes, yes, I do understand that. I do understand, and this very well resonates. I mean, I think we are all part of the same culture. It would not be wrong to say that we are all part of the same a spiritual landscape. That's what binds us together. When I am interacting with you, I don't feel that I'm talking to someone apart from me. It's the same feeling here. And this is also while talking to you, I asked the question of the growing trend of people joining the bandwagon because it brings a lot of relevance to what Raiva was asking earlier, that what could be the career guidance to someone who wants to join the industry in which you are. So that sorts of also answers that, with the times to come, this profession is more set to grow further. So definitely a lot of job requirements there. And also I heard from you is, you sort of, I think it's part of your nature, or this is what you have learned from as a part of your upbringing. You sort of likes challenges. Teach everyone. Then naturally my game will go up.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm forced to up my game.
that's right. Yeah.
It's not about competition. It's about the making it more challenging so that I grow more. So you are all for growth, is what I understand, and that's why you love gaming.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful interaction with you. I think this brings us to the end of an hour session with you. We would like to have you more in further online sessions where we have a lot of participants who can ask a variety of questions from their lives. And if anything is there, Raiva, you would like to add, you're most welcome to add any question which I would have missed.
Sharatji, I think he already answered quite a lot. And the answers
Yes.
were beautiful. Like we could see how aligned it is. Like you said, doesn't feel like we are talking to somebody from a different, not just country, but a different space altogether, a different career altogether. It's so close to teaching. It's it's
Yes.
it's all under education at the end of the day. And also how Jega views the whole process of learning. It just resonates.
Yes. It is very much in sync with what I think we believe in too. So
And
yeah,
anyway,
I think,
thank
yeah.
you so much, Sharat, for this opportunity, and thank you, Raiva, for this invitation and this session. I mean, I had a good time talking to you all because I don't know, somehow, we are separated by the sea, but, but somehow when it comes to this field, we sort of resonate. And I believe there's a whole lot of people around the world that also resonate. And I hope that everyone around the world who believes in this to continue using games and simulation for learning. You see, we can't change the system, but we can definitely nudge it. And that's what we are doing. We are nudging a little by little.
Wow, that's a great closing notes there. And with that, I think we will definitely. I would not like to add anything further. This is the best closing note ever. So yeah, thank you, Jega, thank you, Raiva, and thank you everyone else who would be joining the podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.